Hello and welcome to Capacity Messaging in SMS World. Thank you for joining this latest presentation entitled Sponsored Presentation, Key Developments in the Global A2P Market Space. I'm David, Senior Product Developer of Capacity Media and Content Manager for this year's event. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to say a big thank you to session sponsor Bankai Group. Please drop by their virtual stand to say hello to them. The event platform is also now open for informal as well as formal networking, giving you the opportunity to contact attendees, sponsors and exhibitors as you schedule your meetings for the 8th to 10th of June, where you'll be able to take advantage of all of our networking features, including video group chats, interacting with virtual booths and one-to-one meetings. In alignment with the networking opportunities, we have a range of thought leadership content in areas such as A2P, SMS monetization, the state of play in RCS, CPaaS, omnichannel messaging, and more. Check out our full program in the agenda tab, where you'll be able to see our full agenda as well as our pre-event coverage from last week. If you have any questions about this year's event, please reach out to one of the Capacity Media team. Here is the speaker for this presentation session, and with that, I'll hand you over to Nicky Peshwani.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the industry friends. I mean, from wherever you are attending. Thanks, everyone. My name is Nicky Peshwani, and I am the Vice President for Bankai Group Carrier Business and Messaging Services. I would like to thank Capacity for organizing this webinar. And today I'm going to take you from to run through our presentation, which is key developments in the global A2P messaging market space. So let me just, share the screen with you guys, and we will take it ahead from there. Just give me a moment. Okay, so I'll just run through this presentation, from my end. I mean, this is about the developments that has been happening in our A2P messaging market space, and it also contains a bit of information on the P2P segment as well. This is myself, Nicky Peshwani, and the agenda of this entire presentation is that it actually contains, international SMS traffic market size, and also about the impact of pandemic on the SMS business, its pros and some cons as well. SMS Hub and their role in the entire international messaging, be it P2P or A2P. And then we come on to the threats and the most interesting topic, which is prevention of frauds in international SMS. We will end the presentation with the group overview about Bankai Group, and then we will attend a question and answer session, at our end. Now, to start with, what we have, researched, and after going through many documents, what we found is that the total number of SMS sent worldwide were roughly around 8.8 trillion messages. However, it was only a small portion, like let's say 229 billion out of the 8.8 trillion market size was international messaging services. Out of the 229 billion messages sent in 2029, 71% was A2P, 71% was P2P, and 29% was A2P traffic. While the A2P market is expected to grow with the CAGR of more than 23% till the end of 2024, the P2P market is also not going to diminish in size. In fact, it is expected to grow with 5.5%, CAGR till 2024. Now, because of the pandemic and companies moving towards digitalization, people are opting for more A2P messaging. And 45% of the conversion ratio on A2P messaging is much higher than any email marketing or any other, way of marketing your products. So businesses are opting for A2P side, more than any other traditional way of marketing their products. Now, this is just, on the screen, you can see the segregation of the entire traffic, which is terminated via the wholesale means in A2P and P2P segment. The largest contributor, it's 56.2% is Asia region in 2019. And the interesting part is by 2024, it will still stay as the largest region for A2P and P2P messaging market with 56.7%. We are observing a small drop in Europe, which is like 17.6% than what it was in 2019 to 18.5%. But we are observing an increase as well in terms of percentage in Latin America and Middle East Africa by approximately 0.5%. Now, moving further, we will discuss about the impact of pandemic on the SMS business. I mean, post-pandemic, A2P market is one of the businesses which is actually expected to get the boost in terms of volumes, in terms of revenues and bottom line for most of the SMS international hubs. Now, most of the companies we talked with, they have agreed that they have actually seen a growth of 6 to 36% in volume during the pandemic, which is quite interesting, actually. Now, along with the Europe and Asia, I mean, there has been increase in consolidation. Many big companies are going for and getting into merger and acquisition deals, which is also something which has to be looked upon in the coming years for the A2P segment. Now, the cons about the pandemic actually it's that P2P market is expected to get impacted due to the role of the roaming traffic. Now, again, the roaming traffic, it's not a cost for the international market as such, but when it comes to the European market, it is a good amount of chunk. I mean, let's say around 14.5 billion messages were terminated among the European countries in 2019, which is actually, expected to drop down by 45% approximately, and it will come to 8.3 billion in 2020. So previous levels, we will see in the next slide that we are actually expecting the previous levels of the roaming traffic to be back by 2023 and with a marginal increase in 2024. So this table, when we talk about it, actually speaks on, the entire traffic growth that we might expect in coming 5 years. The growth projected is 5.8% with 5.8% CAGR till 2024. We are seeing a substantial drop in 2020 because of the pandemic. Starting 2021, we are seeing a bit of recovery in the roaming traffic revenue, but yes, the previous levels are expected to be, reached in 2023. Now, moving ahead, when we see the ratio of A2P and P2P via SMS hubs, when we talked about now, as I said earlier, the total number of traffic terminated, which was 229 billion SMS. Most of the traffic which is terminated between the direct operators is not something which we can account for, and it was not available when we researched about it. However, we were able to get hold of the information on the traffic which is terminated via international SMS hubs, and 71% of that traffic was, as I said, P2P and 28.4% A2P. Now, when we look into the figures by the end of 2024, we are expecting 46%. That is a very good amount of contribution when it comes to the overall A2B segment, and with 5.5% growth, in terms of P2B segment, the percentage of share will be lower than what it is today in the messaging market. Now we are coming to actually the SMS hubs and the role in international messaging. This is one of the very interesting aspects for all the international carriers who are doing business, and to understand how the entire SMS business model is working. Now, international SMSs are sent via SMS hubs rather than direct interconnects. The total number SMS grew to 103 billion. So that is the 71% and 28% what we break down earlier in the P2P and A2P part is actually the total number comes to 103 billion in 2019, and it is expected to reach at 179 billion in 2024. Now, as I said earlier, 23% of CAGR for A2P is a very good growth when we talk about it, because the contribution will increase to 82 billion messages in 2019, which is right now at 29 billion messages. And on the P2B side, the contribution would be 97 billion, which is again at 74 billion right now. Now, this number can be at a much higher level if the operators hubs can convert the gray terminations as well. Then the monetization of count of messages could be significantly high. Now, regional dominance of SMS marketing in Asia with more than 50% market share, and the rest being distributed among Europe, MEA, and Latin America. This is again also a scope where we can see a good amount of growth in Latin America, because once after the pandemic, the companies start going into digitalization mode more and focusing on A2P marketing. We might see a good number of SMSs than what we are projecting right now. We will now come up to the impact of fraud on international SMS market. Again, here, this is not something new that I'm going to talk about. We all have been aware the problem that we have been facing as international telecom players on the SMS frauds like GT scanning, SMS spoofing, SMS faking, SMS sponsoring. So these are some of the frauds which have been, impacting every one of us when we say in terms of loss of revenues, branding issues, annoying our end customers and actually, resulting in losing a customer base. So which again is a very big loss for the operators, because the cost of customer acquisition is much higher. And, for the telecom operators nowadays, because of the fierce competition available in the market, especially in countries which are developing like India or some of the Asian countries. So this is something which has been a cause of concern overall. And the revenue leakage due to SMS frauds and its impacts have been like the communication. I mean, the CFCA estimates P2P and A2P messaging accounted for 6.27 billion in fraud losses for all the telecom carriers worldwide in 2017. Now, when we come to the wholesale part of it, the Global Leaders Forum estimates that overall fraudulent traffic costs the international wholesale carrier industry at 17 billion. That is humongous. 85% of carriers are actually seeing as a priority issue, as it continues to erode their revenues, their bad debts, their bottom lines, and everything. The important aspect over here to actually take control on this fraud market is with the help of data analysis, AI, which is artificial learning, again, machine learning. I mean, we have a lot of solutions available in the market, but at the end, it comes with a logic and predefined artificial intelligence, where they are actually using predefined logics to tackle the content filtration on the SMS side, sender ID evaluation and other stuff. But the important approach for us has to be that we need to understand the accuracy of the fraud numbers, the fraud schemes, and we need to ensure that there is no impact on legitimate traffic, because it has happened in the past that many of the legitimate traffics also gets affected while we are dealing on the spams and other fraudulent activities. We need to understand that all the operators have to come together and come to a really good firewall solution approach, because that is one thing that has been lagging, I think, the telecom industry far behind. Only, as we can move ahead, only 6% of the mobile operators had deployed SS7 firewall by end of 2020. Again, 61% of mobile operators would have deployed an SMS firewall by the end of 2021. The pandemic might slow down certain things, but this is what the expectation is. And 82% of the mobile operators forecast to deploy an SMS firewall solution by 2022. If this is achievable, I think we are seeing, a bright future on the A2P and P2P messaging side, with a reduction on the fraud part. Now, how to identify the suitable anti-fraud solution? Here is where, I would like to give you a brief on the comprehensive fraud solution, which as a group, Bunkai has. Bunkai being in the telecom space for more than 2 decades now, and we understand the pain areas of the telecom operators and carriers on the billing side, on the fraud side, on the real-time monitoring, real-time data analysis. It can get pretty much messy all around, but we understand that, and we build our solutions based on our own experience, as also with the feedback received from the veterans of the telecom industry, and how we are going to, and we keep on improving with the help of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Now, the comprehensive fraud solution, has to be on a definite time frame with, comprehensive fraud database, which is actually being updated on a real-time basis with the help of machine learning. So whenever, we are talking about gray termination on the SMS side, if there are any terminations which are increasing on terms of gray termination in a particular country on the A2B segment, the firewall has to keep on learning itself, because it's not only that we can accept the traffic and just put in a predefined concept of blocking some traffic because it is great, in a certain manner. We actually have to keep on developing every day, every moment through the firewall, that what are the things that are changing when such kinds of frauds are actually impacting our business again and again. So this is the prevention of fraud and the advantages which MNOs can have by actually getting a proper SS7 backed firewall, which is mobile operators can protect their brand. They can make sure that they are not losing their customers and they are not spending again the same amount to acquire a customer again and from their competitors. Explosive and clean and legitimate A2P messaging growth, adding more monetization of every message which is sent via the network. Closing the gray terminations, upgrading their SMS firewalls. Mobile operators will also be requiring to invest on the SMS firewalls again and again with many of the SMS firewall providers. 2/3 of the mobile operators which are using SMS firewalls have actually reported a huge reduction in unauthorized messaging traffic on A2P routes. In fact, they have been able to monetize more in terms of the messages they have been already receiving from their end customers, and these are now legitimate. Operators are thoughtful about IoT-based M2M and M2P messaging and believe all the MO and MT, the machine learning firewalls, that has to be included in a SMS firewall, because they don't want to opt for other firewalls on consistent basis. They want a comprehensive, complete technology for securing their A2P and P2P SMS business. Again, moving ahead, what is an ideal SMS firewall? This is what our definition of ideal SMS firewall is at Bankai Group. Because we understand that anti-spam, whenever a SMS comes into your network, you need to ensure that it is not spam, it is not fake, it is not being spoofed or flooded. It's not a SymBox terminated or originated message. The artificial intelligence, as I have been saying again, used to ensure that these things are being taken care of. The firewall is able to define properly between A2P and P2P messagings. The partnership management on the platform is very good, which is roaming partners, aggregators, SMS hubs, and interconnections. Now, on the financial clearing, which has to be real time, which is the partner billing and the vendor billing, the tracking, reporting, statistics, all these things are very important when we are talking about SMS firewall business, because proper tracking, reporting, statistics along with proper billing is very much important, and this has to be real time in order to ensure that we are monetizing each and every SMS going through our networks. This is just a Bankai Group overview. I'm sure many of you might be aware about what we as a company do, but just to give you an overview, we have been in this market for more than 2 decades with more than 130 tier 1 operators. We have the capacity to terminate your traffic directly to these operators, and we also have our own retail traffic aggregations. Overall, in 2020, we completed more than 11 billion minutes in voice and 2 billion SMS terminated globally with 400 plus carrier relationships. We have our own in-house billing solutions, financial solutions, blockchain-based technology, and one of the leading anti-spam firewall solutions, which is one of the main products that we have been focusing. And we actually want operator to monetize that every message which comes into the network with the help of this. These are just our partners. We are already doing business with them in one of the other streams. This includes all the global carriers and global telecom operators, most of them, which we have been doing business for a long time. Again, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. And if there are any questions you have, I'll be, very thankful, and I'll appreciate to answer them myself. So I'm available now. Thank you very much.
We'd like to thank Nicky for his time. I just want to thank session sponsor Bankai Group for this year's event. Please do find time to engage with them. Next session is our panel at 2:30 BST, entitled Panel Delivering A2P SMS Monetization. All of our sessions will be made available on demand on Swapcard for up to 30 days after the conclusion of this year's event, so you won't miss a second from this year's program. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the event. Goodbye for now.